What's up, Knicks fans? Welcome to another episode of Knicks Latest. I am Josh Rodriguez. I will be here giving you updates daily on the Knicks, rumors, headlines, trade talk, all that good stuff leading up into the most anticipated season in the past 25 years for the New York Knicks. If you ask me, this is the first time since the Ewing days where I think the Knicks are expected to make the NBA Finals, and we're trying to build a community here on Knicks Latest, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment on the video. I do take your comments, and I do use them for content on shows. I respond to them. I answer your questions, all of that good stuff. Let's get started. It is early September, so there's not a lot to talk about, but there is basketball being played. But that basketball is being played over in Europe, and I got to give a shout out to Guerschon Yabusele. You know, for the past few episodes, past few weeks or so, just to be honest, we've been going over, trades and who or the Knicks are going to sign in free agency and who's that last roster spot going to go to. And we rarely even talk about any real basketball. I mean, yesterday I was talking about Jalen Brunson and Pablo Torre possibly trying to expose the New York Knicks organization for possibly playing Jalen Brunson underneath the table. There's not a lot to talk about here in September, but there is basketball going on. There is the EuroBasket tournament going on in Europe, and Guerschon Yabusele is on the French team, and he is balling, man. 36 points the other night against Poland. France is 3-1 in pool play. They're advancing to the next round, and Guerschon is a huge part of that. Hitting three-pointers, being aggressive on the offensive end is everything that the Knicks signed up for, essentially, when signing Guerschon. He had a good season in Philadelphia last year, and he's just kind of coming into his own, kind of like a late bloomer, it seems like, with Guerschon. But I wanted to talk about him because depending on how he plays this season, that changes a lot for the Knicks, right? When we talk about Guerschon on the show, we just talk about, he's a nice guy to bring off the bench, front court, maybe get 15 minutes a game, shoot some threes, and that's it. But the more that I watch of him in EuroBasket, the more that I think about this, I think it's very possible we could see a Guerschon Yabusele in the starting lineup. You can see Guerschon Yabusele playing with the starting lineup, maybe not starting, but getting clutch minutes down the stretch, if the defense can hold up, if Mike Brown has a plan to do so. Because you can insert Guerschon at the 4 and run this 5-out system with the Knicks if he's hitting his 3, if he's shooting the basketball the way that he has been known to shoot and the way he's shooting in EuroBasket. A Guerschon Yabusele that's getting 25, 30 minutes a game, who Mike Brown can trust on a defensive end, who Mike Brown can trust to spread the floor, changes the whole game for the New York Knicks. We have been searching for a stretch 4 or a stretch 5, right? We do have that in Cat, but it'd be nice to have someone else because you can pair Cat with Mitchell Robinson, but that kind of squeezes in the defense a little bit. But if you can have someone like Guerschon Yabusele who can hit the 3 and you can move Cat to the 5, that changes a lot for the Knicks. And I'm not saying I didn't think about this when they signed him, but to me, the ceiling when they got Guerschon was kind of like, all right, he's going to be somebody, 8th, 9th man off the bench, someone who gets 10, 15 minutes a game, someone who might score like 5, 6, 7 points a game, doesn't get too much. You got Jordan Clarkson and Deuce McBride are probably going to take a lot of shots off the bench. This guy's probably just there to spread the floor, hit an open 3 occasionally. But watching EuroBasket, seeing the highlights, and then thinking about his prototype, I think he could be in for a larger role. I think he might start a couple games this year, not because, he worked his way up there, maybe injuries here and there, maybe experimenting. I think he can to Mitchell Robinson minutes if Mitchell Robinson's in foul trouble, or if Mike Brown just can't figure out a way to utilize Mitchell Robinson at all. He is someone who I think can give the Knicks an extra dynamic on the floor. It's an extra lineup. It's you can put him in many different lineups, right? I wouldn't want him at the 5, but having him at the 4, you can have this small ball lineup with Cat. You can probably have an ultra small ball lineup with him at the 5, even though I don't know what that would look like. I wouldn't recommend it. But he is a very versatile piece to have, and I think Knicks fans, and I particularly, I'm just coming around to realize how much of a weapon this guy could be, and I'm getting really excited for this season, because like I said before, I thought this was just somebody who we would play like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes a game, and that's it. But watching him play in Europe, it's kind of like, oh no, he might be more than that. He's very aggressive on the offensive end. He got his name, I wouldn't say his name, but he got known by the NBA community for dunking on LeBron James in the Olympics, right? A lot of people didn't know who he was until then. So he's not scared of anything. He's an aggressive basketball player, not just shooting the 3-ball, but just aggressive on the offensive end as well. If he can hold up defensively, that could change a lot for the team. So to me, one of the more underrated pickups by the Knicks, only spending $11 million on him, getting him at a very good value after the season he had with the Philadelphia 76ers. This is somebody who I think can change the whole projection of the team, right? You get a different lineup, more dangerous on the offensive end. To me, I'm expecting big things from Gershon. I'm expecting really big things from Gershon Yabusele. Now, obviously, he's coming off the bench. I'm not expecting him to be an all-star. But one of those players, when we look back on this year, we say, wow, signing him, kind of like when we with Isaiah Hartenstein, like, wow, signing him made a huge difference in this team. He is a huge cog on this team. He is one of the heartbeats of this team. So I'm really excited to watch Gershon play. Now, there's not a lot to talk about outside of that. We are coming down to the last month of the season, getting all the offseason. Knicks still haven't used their final vet minimum. Landry Shamet's still out there. He's the guy I want, somebody who can spread the floor, shoot the three, defend the perimeter. I think that's what works best with the bench. I think that's what works best for this team right now. I think that's what this team needs. To me, he makes the most sense. Malcolm Brogdon's another player out there, somebody who can run the point guard position if Jalen Brunson needs to rest. Because outside of Tyler Kolek, there really isn't a true point guard on the team, and a lot of fans just don't trust Tyler. So getting Malcolm in for cheap, doesn't have to really play unless needs to, is somebody I can trust. I can see why people would want him. DeLon Wright, somebody who can guard the perimeter, a really good defensive talent, can run an offense, needs to work on his shot, but you can trust him. He's a pro. Somebody who came in last year after the trade deadline, during the trade deadline, when we traded Jericho Sims for him. Started a few games due to injury, due to rest, and played well. Played well in the playoffs as well. He's somebody I would like. And the Knicks, of course, still linked to Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, man, I don't know what's going on here right now. Reports are saying that it's either he signs with the Knicks, there's a mystery team, or he retires. So Ben has a lot of contemplating to do for his future. It seems like the Knicks are interested in him and are not I'm saying only interested in him, but he's number one right now, and they just can't work something out. And until Ben makes a decision on his future or where he wants to go, I think that's when the Knicks will make their decision. I think if they don't get Ben, then they'll look elsewhere, maybe go Landry. But I do feel like, and this is no sources, this is just me feeling, I do feel like right now it's the Knicks waiting on Ben Simmons to make a decision. And what that decision is, I don't know. Maybe it's retirement. Maybe it's going to the Knicks on a vet minimum. I'm sure the Knicks are not offering anything more than a vet minimum. They want to stay below the second apron. They can't offer more. So being on the lookout for that. We've been on the lookout for the past 3-4 weeks for this last vet minimum spot. Been talking about it ad nauseum. And at this point, I just want to get over with. It is September. Let's get this roster finalized. Let's get going. And let's go after this Eastern Conference championship. All right, listen, like I said, I do take your comments. I do respond to them. I do answer questions. So make sure you drop a comment below. Let me know who you want to be that last final roster spot for the Knicks. Let me know what you think of Gershon Yabusele. How many minutes a game you want him to get? Do you think he can play with the starting lineup, right? If you have Jalen Brunson, OG, Mikal, Gershon, and Cat, do you like that lineup? How many minutes a game do you think that lineup gets? Do you think it's too much of a liability on the defensive end? Let me know what you think of Gershon, if we should be paying attention to EuroBasket, or this is just another game and it doesn't really matter too much because the NBA is a different type of game. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, drop a comment. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Knicks Latest. Peace.